I want to be dope. I don't want to be, and I may not be dope for everybody, but I want the people that I respect
Mm-hmm.
and that and my, the community that I'm reaching out to. I want them to actually like or dislike my work and be able to critically talk about that.
Man, so for those of you who don't know, man, my next guest has created numerous television shows, including the critically acclaimed Blackish. The award-winning series has also 2 spinoffs, okay? You got Grownish and Mixed-ish. He was a writer on The Game, which is one of all our favorites, and Soul Food. He also, which is a fun fact that I didn't know, co-created and produced America's Next Top Model with Tyra Banks. Which is probably, that'll probably, give you an idea of why he spends so much money and can afford to do so. But, just to the skill set of his craft, he penned the film, which means he wrote, for you motherfuckers who ain't as sophisticated or artsy as the rest of us, but he penned the film Girls Trip, which was a hit, over 100 million in box office. He co-produced the 2019 film Little, with Issa Rae, and also the young lady who's the youngest executive producer in Hollywood.
Marseille Martin.
Yes, man. Yes, man. Man, she's a phenomenal talent, just an incredible actress, and now an incredible executive producer. So a little bit more about him that you didn't know. Let's see here. Shaft is another one that you wrote that.
Yep.
Okay. And if that wasn't enough, in 2020, he made his acting debut. As though he didn't make enough money as a writer and producer, he made his acting debut in his Netflix hit series titled Black as Fuck, Black AF, if you know what I'm saying, if you can't co-star Rashida Jones. Man, look, that is my new favorite show. I ain't even gonna hold you. I don't give a damn what nobody got to say about it. I feel like you actually took time in my house observing what I go through or what we go through as a family and kind of like incorporated that and put it into a series. So I appreciate that. This shit is, it's beyond, I guess, obvious, but I'm proud to have you as a guest, man. Please welcome Mr. Kenya Barris to Expeditiously.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Kenya Barris on Expeditiously, man. Hey, look, so your catalog is long and also just, the shit is impressive, but what is it of your body of work that you are most proud of?
Oh, Blackish.
Blackish. And why? Why Blackish first?
It changed my life. I mean, I'm saying I was happy when I got a chance to be a part of America's Next Top Model, and that financially gave me the power to say no, which I think, that's a big sort of, we can talk about that. I'm saying that changed my career choices. But that was Tyra's thing. Like Blackish was the first thing that was my thing. I've been writing for a long time, and I got to do my thing and talk about my family. And, in the same way, you said, like, this is your family right now. You know what I'm saying? Blackish, for a lot of people, when I did that, was their family then. You know what I'm saying? In 7 years, Black America has changed. You know what I'm saying? And we've grown. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like this was the time that this show, when I got to do Black AF, I wouldn't have been able to do any of this shit if it wasn't for Blackish. You know what I'm saying? The phone started ringing in a different kind of way, and I will always be, respectful and understand that changed me and my family's life. And, it in some aspects changed. I got the chance to do something that wasn't on TV, and open opportunities for a lot of other people. And, I got to employ and work with and be around a lot of really talented African-American, artists. And I'll always be thankful for that.
Man, I mean, one thing I appreciate about your work, Blackish and Black AF, I haven't had the opportunity to see Grownish or Mixed-ish yet, but Blackish and Black AF, you incorporate so much information, you know what I'm saying? So you drop so many jewels about so many things that impact and affect our culture and our community. And you say that, having the financial freedom to be able to say no, that gave you an opportunity to be able to do those things. Like, talk a little bit about that.
We all come from you know, different parts of this country in different ways. You know what I'm saying? My beginnings were humble like a lot of other people, but you know, when you're trying to eat, you know, you make different choices than when you're full.
Right.
And when I wasn't full, but I have food in my stomach, you know what I'm saying, after Top Model. And I had more food in my stomach after Blackish. And, you know, I was able to, I think you become more responsible with the decisions that you make, you know what I'm saying? And you start taking more ownership of it. And, you know, I don't know if this is a little piece of Tip, but me and Tip were supposed to do a show years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy shit happened. But I told you, you know, I always appreciated your albums and the show. I don't know if we can, the series I wanted to do was you're a storyteller.
Yeah.
And every one of the albums, you can look back, and I always say the same thing with Jay too. You see your growth personally reflected in your art.
Right on.
You know, and for me, I feel like that was what Blackish was. You know what I'm saying? I would, you know, my wife was a doctor. I was a writer. My kids have, you know, you're taught to give your kids more than you have. You know what I'm saying? But in doing that, kind of, what do you lose out on? You know what I'm saying? And that was the upper middle class Black family for network television. That's about as far as we could go without people feeling like they were off-put. But when I got a chance to go to Netflix, in the same way that you've grown and you can see your family in Black AF now, you might have saw it in Blackish back then.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we've, you know, I think over the last decade, we've changed. You know what I'm saying? We've continued to grow. And in the same way your albums grow with you, same way, you know, one of my favorite storytellers in Jay-Z, his albums grow with him.
Right.
I felt like this was the story that I wanted to tell, because this is where I feel like as a culture we've grown, and there's some wish fulfillment, and there's some, you know, aspirational things, but there's also some truth to just like seeing us break through different barriers that we hadn't broke through before, but knowing those same problems really exist, and talking about different, like, we're just not monolithic as a Black culture. There's so many different versions of us. And it's important for us to see, you know, every version from Good Times to this to everything in between. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of, you know, but the thing that if we take enough time and look at it, there is something cohesive between all those stories, and that's our struggle in this country. And I respect everybody's opinion about the show. You know, it's super polarizing. Like I've never done anything like this, that it's been so much like people call me like, this is my favorite show. People call me and said, I hate this.
Man.
You know, I've never done anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But I kind of feel like
I really love the show, bro. I loved it first, like as soon as it came on, because you know, I love the way you broke down the fourth wall, and you know, it was, I think, it had a scripted reality to it.
That's correct.
Yeah. How much of the storylines and, you know, the character arcs come from your real life in Black AF?
I would say almost all of them. You know what I'm saying? I'm a television writer, so like you sit in a room with a lot of other writers and they collaborate, and, you know, it becomes some aggregate of our experiences. But in some version, we all sort of experience moments of things that happen, and I definitely experienced all those things. For this particular show, I wouldn't have done it if I couldn't relate to it. You know what I'm saying? All the things that I were happening may not be my life exactly, but I related to them.
Right on. Now, okay, so tell me, you mentioned, like, you know, how polarizing the show is, and people have called you and, you know, had very positive opinions and very negative opinions, but about the negative opinions and the backlash that came from the Twitter sphere, if you will, specifically about Rasheeda and her role in Black AF. What do you think was so, you know, I mean, what do you think hurt people feeling so much about that?
I won't speak on Rasheeda because she has her own plight, but I will say this for her. She's the only person I ever wanted to do that role. She did it in a way that is perfect. You know what I'm saying? Supported a dude who was a non-actor.
Right.
And I cannot, you know, you acted, so you understand when you get around people who are green,
right.
She held me up and carried me through that, and she's been my partner in a way that I cannot, you know, I cannot tell you how thankful I am to her. And I feel like she's done a pitch perfect job. That I just will say, you know, I think everyone has the rights, but she's playing. I think the one thing I would say in terms of the colorism and all this, this is based on my family.
Right.
So there's version of, you know, this, she's playing a version of my wife who's biracial. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? My mom,
So your wife is mixed.
my wife is biracial. She's playing a version of that character. My kids, what Rashida and I could produce looks like those kids who are amazing.
Right.
And so I feel like, you know, I think that sometimes we just need to, like I said, talked about like informing ourselves a little bit more. I think everyone's experience and everyone's opinion in terms of, you know, colorism are real, and I understand that. But if you just dug a little bit under the surface, you'd understand that this was based upon, it's you know, biographical.
Right.
And this was based on my family, and I was trying to duplicate a version of what my family was. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think that, you know, that would have calmed a lot of the natives, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I think it's important that it didn't, because it speaks to the idea that there is so much colorism in the world now, and it shows how important this is to people. So I take the good with the bad.
Mm-hmm.
The ignorant, I have a little bit of a problem with.
The who?
But ignorant, you know what I'm saying? The ignorant, I have a problem with, but I take opinions, good with the bad, because if you're going to listen to any of them, you got to listen to all of them.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And if you watch the series, it's 8 episodes, and every episode has one thing in common: because of slavery.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Every episode will have that too.
Yeah. So look, right. So tell me, what is it about because of slavery that you wanted to embed in our perception?
I think it's so we were enslaved for over 400 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think a generation is 11 or 12 years or something like that. So we were enslaved almost 30, 38, 39, 40, 40 generations. It, 2 generations, I read somewhere, 2 to 3 generations for things to normalize.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Where you're used to seeing a black police officer, we were in a situation for 40 generations or 35 generations, 38 generations. The notion of us not, knowing that we shouldn't look a white man in his eye and things like that, all of a sudden we're put out in Jim Crow, which I think is worse than slavery. You know what I'm saying? Because all of a sudden this 400-year, atrocity was just over, and we're put back into the same community with the same people who were oppressing us. Our behaviors, our rationales, our diets, our health habits, our health traits. There's no version of us forgetting that, and I want America and the world to know we went through a lot, and that's how resilient of a people we are. But we're still, there's this great book, Post-Traumatic Slave Disorder. We're still dealing with the effects of what slavery is. And I think that there's a big thing with me in fucking jewelry. I like jewelry.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I grew up feeling like I didn't have shit.
There's something about when you ain't had shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Something about when you ain't had shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we all know the difference in assets and liabilities. We all know what value appreciation versus depreciation is. But there's just something about the gratification of, nice things that mean more to us than it would to a white man. And I think that you would sum that up and say that it's because of slavery.
It's peacocking. I feel like, Chris Rock, I'm saying, it's spinning, nigga. We got to go. We had to put rims on. We're learning. We're slowly learning less is more. You know what I'm saying? As we start to come around most of us who have any type of real sort of success, in terms of wealth, and I won't even call it wealth. Like there's some rich niggas, and not too many wealthy.
Not many wealthy ones.
I'm saying, and so most of us who have any type of success, this is first generation.
Yeah.
Everything we're learning on the spot. On the job training for us.
Right.
Give me a second to learn. I'm not supposed to rim my car out because the stocks make it ride the way it's supposed to drive. Give me a second before I learn that.
Right.
Give me a second before I learn there's times when you can tuck your chain. Give me a second. I don't even need the chain.
Right.
You know let me have my moment. You know what I'm saying? And I'm starting to understand financial literacy, as we all are. And I'm teaching it to my kids in a way it wasn't taught to me. But there's still that part of me that's just a nigga. And I just want to, do me and be me. And I'm not going to hide from that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember looking up to D-Boys and hoop players and rappers and what they had. And I'm not, when I got a little bit of something, I wanted to be like those dudes that I looked up to. And I'm not going to run away from that because that's, you know, what mainstream society says I shouldn't do.
Right. And that's another thing that you don't shy away from. You don't shy away from the criticism of yourself. You know what I'm saying? When you actually like said, damn, am I just riding the black wave? Is this just, you know, I'm just the nigga of the moment. You know what I'm saying? Are those real kind of like conversations or realizations you've had with yourself over time?
And I feel like, you know, when I see things that I feel like as an artist, I'm, yo, this is whack. I'm sure you know what I'm saying, in music, you know what I'm saying? Right. Just like, seriously, you'll see something because you can really rap, you know what I'm saying? And music is going through a change right now. And when you see something and for you, it doesn't necessarily resonate as what you remember or what you feel like the art form is, but it's
real to you.
Yeah, it's getting more streams than anything else. You know what I'm saying? It starts to feel like, hold on. You know what I'm saying? Was I part of that? Was I part of that sort of, you know, wave? You know, and it makes me question my own, you know, my own success, my own things. And at the same time, it makes me not want to just accept being part of something. I want to be dope. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I want to be dope. I don't want to be, and I may not be dope for everybody, but I want the people that I respect and that the community that I'm reaching out to, I want them to actually like or dislike my work and be able to critically talk about that.
Right on.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that takes us really challenging one another.
Yeah, I think, and speaking of challenging one another, one thing you also do, taking from your real life, you don't just kind of present the positive or the nice, easy parts of your life. You also touch on some tough topics of discussion, even from Blackish and Black AF, like separation. When, you know, when married, like separation sometimes is just, you know what I'm saying, it's a harsh reality of marriage. And, you know, to pretend that reality doesn't exist does not help us in the long run as a society. So, and also dealing with things like you dealt with in Black AF, like having a woman who might have had money before you had money, but now that you've become, you know, a little bit more affluent, your woman can, you know what I'm saying, had an opportunity to not have to work, and that causes a certain level of resentment in the household that may even be unintentional. It's unintentional for you. You ain't trying to shine on her, and she's not really trying to, you know what I'm saying, be negative towards you, but it's just an unspoken reality that you address in all your work. And what made you be as confident and free with your own real life situations to share with us like this?
I think just, I'm a huge fan of comedy. I'm a huge Pryor fan. And the thing that Pryor was the Jordan of comedy.
Right on.
Like the thing that people are doing, he was the first dude to do white voice, the first dude to do like the white man's walk, the first dude to really do like black people do it like this, white people do it like this. He used nigga like he used to. And you know, the thing that Pryor did, he talked about doing dope. He talked about fucking, you know, doing a lot of things that were
self-deprecating. Setting yourself on fire.
Setting yourself on fire. And what that did is, I feel like the great comics and the comedians that we really love, they draw you in. When you tell your own story, when you talk about your flaws, you draw your audience in because you're not trying to present a facade that's not necessarily real. Like, you know what I'm saying? You see the chinks in your armor, and the audience will expose more than you're even willing to expose.
Right.
But I feel like it's easier to talk about things and sort of want to have because I have an opinion, and it's easier to have an opinion if I let you into having an opinion on my life. I'm going through a divorce right now. You know, who knows what's going to happen with that? You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
But
you mean in real life you are?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and, you know, who knows what's going to happen with that, but it is part of life. You know what I'm saying? I think when I was growing up, I never saw, you know, Cliff and Claire argue.
Right.
And so I didn't, you know, I believe that, you know, if you look at sitcoms and our stories, we're supposed to be okay. You know what I'm saying? But the idea of it is 52% of marriages don't work. You know, and the notion of like understanding how to we didn't know about therapy really, or really understand it. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't part of growing up. We didn't know about really having the church, really having friends that were other married friends. And we didn't have a lot of things that sort of would have given us the skeleton to sort of make it in a different kind of way. So I feel like talking about that and showing that, you know, to a generation of people who might be going through what I'm going through, it makes them sort of say like, hey, there's other people out there like me. Maybe
Right.
we can, maybe we can't, but we have to. I just want to make sure that I'm trying to, be as real with my shit as possible.
Man, I think you're doing a phenomenal job, bro. And I mean, even just in conversation, man, you just like just share so much. You dig what I'm saying?
It is the toughest thing I've ever been through in my life.
Especially when you have to do it in front of the world. You know what I'm saying?
It is. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
I somehow, some fucked up way, it got announced on my birthday that
Damn.
I didn't file on my birthday, but it got announced on my birthday, and I didn't know it was. I don't know that my divorce is. People care about me getting divorced. I'm not anybody, especially at that point. And all of a sudden, it's in the papers as I'm getting off a plane coming from Atlanta, and I have my wife calling me. I have my daughter, who's a sophomore at USC, calling me. I have my daughter who's a senior in high school calling me because her friends are talking about it, and that I'm just not used to. I did this contract with Netflix. All of a sudden, people are talking about money I got and what's in my pocket and what's this, and it's just it's a different world than I ever expected, and I'm trying to experience it with the audience in real time. You know what I'm saying? Like, because this is all happening to me, and Netflix allows it to sort of happen really quickly, so it's not too far behind. This is all happening to me as it's happening, on air.
Damn, man. I mean, there's just a high key level of bravery that goes with, going through that at this moment in time in your life, and sharing it with the world. So you also wrote Coming to America too with Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Which is on the way.
It'll be December 18th.
Gotcha. So now is there any kind of nerves involved when you're approaching such a cult classic like that?
I mean, of course I thought literally, I was writing, I had said I was gonna take my time off, and then I got approached to write the Bob Marley, doing an animated Bob Marley movie at Fox. And I was like, it's Bob Marley. And Bob Marley to me is the greatest living, at his time, I'm saying, he really only had like a 6-year career. I mean, real world knew him, and he changed music. So I was like, to jump at an opportunity to do animation and make it Bob Marley with the Marley family, I was like, I'm not doing anything else. And of course, while I'm doing that, I get the call about Coming to America.
Damn.
And Coming to America is, for us, right? It's a classic.
Absolutely.
It is a black fairy tale. You know what I'm saying? Eddie went and took us out of the hood,
right,
to a place where black people were shitting money. You know what I'm saying? It was something so special for the time. So, the guy, I looked at what it was there, and I felt like Eddie we had a really special way into the movie, and everybody came back, and it was big enough of a moment that I felt like I really wanted to take the swing, and I think that they did a really amazing job on it.
Man, I'm looking forward to it, bro. I'm looking forward to it. I heard a lot of great things about it, man. Man, there's so much to talk about, man. Let me ask you this. What was your first production? Okay. The first thing.
I mean, I did little stuff on my own. You know what I'm saying? I did a short called Bopping, which was about trying to fucking, when your girl leaves, trying to fucking jack off before she gets wanting a moment to yourself. And it kind of got me started, and somebody saw it, and it got me like my first writing job.
What year was this?
I've been writing 24 years ago. So that was
96.
Yeah. Right after I graduated college.
Right on. And what college you go to?
I went to Clark.
Okay, so you got a little, you know what I'm saying, you got a little AUC.
Oh, Atlanta's DNA. I was at Clark when it was Shake, Jaha, Kenny, Wendell.
Wow.
Everybody on the yard, you know what I'm saying? Like,
those were prime Freaknik years, you know what I'm saying?
I saw the end of Freaknik.
Yeah.
When I came home, and the news was like, said, I was out, I had just been out of Piedmont, and I came home and news was like, this is the last year they're going to allow Freaknik. And I remember looking at the news being like, what's there? Like, Freaknik was fucking crazy.
Man, so, and now since you have, you know, made your acting debut, does this mean that you gonna kind of like, you know, shift over and so this is the only role you're accepting?
Ever. And you hear me say it now, and you see me anything else, be like, I'm a bullshit ass nigga. I'm not acting in anything else other than this show ever again.
Why?
Because it's too hard.
It's too hard.
Actors are magic.
Right.
Actors are magic. Actors can shine shit. You know what I'm saying? Actors can take something on a page and make it, you're like, that wasn't there. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Bring it to life.
Absolutely. And I feel like I have too much respect for, you know, the field, for the people who are doing it and what they do and the time they put in to say, like, this is something that, you know, I the same way I don't think Larry David would consider himself an actor per se. You know what I'm saying? This was a role I had to do because there's already somebody playing a version of me expertly on ABC, and he's my brother in Anthony Anderson.
Right.
And another actor do this and say some of the things that I wanted to say wouldn't be fair to that actor. He would just get compared to Anthony, that he was doing an Anthony, you know, rendition. And I feel like this wasn't, I wanted to make this feel differently, and I wanted to make this actually really personal.
Watch your favorite episodes of Expeditiously right now on the Expeditiously YouTube page.